Tom Aspinall is dreaming of standing toe-to-toe with Jon Jones in what he thinks could be one of the biggest heavyweight clashes in UFC history. Since winning the interim heavyweight title in November 2023, Aspinall's eyes have been set on a match with Jones. Jones put on an incredible performance, finishing the fight with Miocic using a stunning spinning back kick to the body in the third round. With that win, the chance for a Jones vs. Aspinall battle seems closer than ever. Watching the fight, Aspinall couldn't help but imagine a future where he'd be the one facing the heavyweight champ. Speaking after the event, he shared a curious moment he had with UFC executives during Jones's post-fight speech. Aspinall noticed Dana White and Hunter Campbell look his way, point, and wink, hinting that something major might be in the works. Aspinall is convinced that a bout with Jones is not just the next logical step, but also the fight everyone wants. He calls it the biggest fight in the UFC and believes it could be one of MMA's most significant matchups. He says if this fight doesn't catch Jones's interest, nothing else will. Everyone knows this is the fight to make fans. UFC all agree. Jones spoke briefly about possibly fighting Aspinall, stating he's open to it but only if the financial offer is right. With his unmatched career and numerous title wins, Jones has little left to prove, securing his spot as one of the greatest fighters ever. But for Aspinall, the value in this matchup is huge, not just for him but for the sport too. Reflecting on Jones's win over Miocic, Aspinall wasn't shocked by the outcome. He praised Jones's adaptability and fantastic finish, but noted Miocic showed signs of aging and inactivity. The fight with Jon Jones would be intense, with him using his pace and precision to dominate. He keeps his distance, pushes his opponent back, and mixes his attacks from head to body, legs, and even spinning kicks. He's a master at it all, including wrestling. Aspin spoke openly about how it's all about quick reactions and sharp instincts to defeat Jones. To beat Jon, you need good eyes and quick reactions to see and adapt to everything he does. Aspin noted that Stipe Miocic at 42 just didn't have these attributes anymore. Watching Jones fight live gave Aspin valuable insights. He cautiously believes there are openings in Jones's game. Whether he can exploit them remains to be seen, but from an outsider's view, he thinks he can. As the UFC deals with negotiations for the heavyweight division, Aspin remains a key figure in these talks, with fans eager for a showdown. He's ready to prove he can give Jones his first real loss. UFC CEO Dana White is open in his admiration for Jon Jones, especially after his impressive performance against Miocic at UFC 309. White praised Jones, calling his fight IQ extraordinary and reinforcing his status as one of the greatest ever. In the title fight, Jones was brilliant, ending it in the third round with a perfectly timed spinning back kick to Miocic's body. The MMA community was left in awe of his accuracy and creativity. For White, it was another evidence of Jones's legacy in the sport. White highlighted the stakes and risks Jones faced before the fight, acknowledging Miocic's determination and condition. Jones picked him apart and looked incredible. To White, Jones's ability to excel under pressure and his remarkable understanding of the game ensure his place at the top of the sport. Fans were thrilled by another fantastic performance from Jones, and the big question is what's next for the reigning heavyweight champion. Jones himself seemed to shrug off the idea of a unification bout with interim champion Tom Aspinall, even though many see it as the logical next step. Speaking to Joe Rogan after the fight, Jones mentioned he's tired of chasing what he calls the flavor of the month, showing he's not too eager to take on Aspinall despite the Brit's rising popularity. Instead, Jones seems interested in a new challenge with UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. Fans are buzzing about this possible super fight due to Pereira's striking skills and star appeal. However, Dana White has some doubts about making that match happen, leaving Jones's future plans up in the air. Regardless of who he fights next, Jones's legacy is solid. His UFC 39 performance reaffirmed his dominance, and White's high praise showed just what a rare talent Jones is. Whether he decides to unify the heavyweight titles against Aspinall or go for a crossover super fight with Pereira, Jones continues to amaze fans and spark debates about who truly is the greatest of all time. Every match further cements Jones as a legend and pushes the boundaries of what's possible in MMA. As White said, he's the greatest fighter in the history of people fighting, and performances like the one against Miocic prove it. Charles Oliveira delivered a stellar performance at UFC 300, securing a unanimous decision victory over Michael Chandler in their rematch. The fight at Madison Square Garden showed Oliveira's technical skills and resilience, despite a bit of controversy. Throughout the bout, Oliveira faced several fouls like strikes to the back of his head, fence grabbing, and even eye pokes, which referee Keith Peterson didn't address, according to Oliveira. Despite these challenges, Oliveira stayed focused and secured his second win over Chandler. At the post-fight press conference, Oliveira expressed frustration over the officiating, explaining how he alerted the referee to no avail, leaving him to handle tactics that might have altered the fight's momentum. It's not the first time Chandler's been accused of bending the rules. He faced similar claims in a previous fight against Dustin Poirier for fish hooking during a grapple. Tensions were high in the final round when Chandler launched a strong comeback, rocking Oliveira on his feet and controlling the ground while striking hard. Yet many of these hits were illegal shots to the back of Oliveira's head, a point both Oliveira and viewers noted. Oliveira survived and maintained control throughout. After a decisive win, Ola left no doubt in the judges' eyes, easily claiming victory. This impressive performance reinforced his standing in the lightweight division and demonstrated his ability to overcome challenges. It was a stark contrast to his first encounter with Chandler, where he had to dig deep to recover from a tough start and secure a second-round finish to win the lightweight title. This time, the Brazilian skillfully controlled the bout, using his striking and grappling skills to outmaneuver Chandler for most of the fight. As Charles looks ahead, he'll be keeping a close eye on the upcoming lightweight title bout between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. Having faced Makhachev before and not coming out on top, Charles is determined to earn another shot at the title and redeem himself against the current champion. Should Tsarukyan manage an upset, Charles could be in line for a fresh challenge against a rising star, adding excitement to the lightweight division. While Oliveira's victory at UFC 309 affirmed his prowess and determination, it also brought up discussions about the consistency of refereeing in MMA. For Oliveira, the focus is now on preparing for his next career-defining moment as he aims to regain the lightweight title. Despite some hurdles in this fight, his performance confirmed his status among the sports elite, and fans eagerly anticipate his next steps in the highly competitive lightweight division. Meanwhile, although Michael Chandler didn't win at UFC 309, his future in the UFC looks promising, according to President Dana White. Chandler faced Ola again in a highly anticipated rematch. Chandler's heart and determination shined in the final round. Despite being down on the scorecards, he pushed forward with relentless energy and trademark action. Despite 2 tough losses, Dana White insists Chandler's role in the UFC remains vital. Michael Chandler is a fighter who never disappoints in the ring. Just like Arturo Thunder Gatti, win, lose, or draw, fans leave his fights entertained. UFC President Dana White's admiration for Chandler isn't just about his win-loss record. It's about the heart and determination Chandler displays each time he steps into the octagon. White highlighted how Chandler never gives up even when things look bleak. Take his fight against Charles Oliveira, for instance. When Chandler was knocked down, he refused to stay down. He got back up, kept pushing, and looked for ways to turn the fight in his favor. According to White, Chandler always comes to win and fight, emphasizing that the UFC will always be a home for him until he chooses to retire. For Chandler's fans, White's words are comforting. In the highly competitive lightweight division, Chandler has distinguished himself with his willingness to take on any challenge. From his unforgettable debut knockout of Dan Hooker to his battles with Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Oliveira, Chandler has established himself as one of the most thrilling fighters in the UFC. Fans know a Chandler fight promises excitement, a fact not overlooked by the UFC leadership. As for what's next, there's talk of a potential blockbuster bout with Conor McGregor, a fight that has been hinted at but hasn't come to fruition due to McGregor's absence. Chandler is also keen on another shot at the title. With a division full of top contenders like Islam Makhachev and Rafael Fiziev, the path won't be easy. However, one thing is certain: Chandler's thrilling presence isn't going anywhere. He remains a major draw in the lightweight division, and his commitment to delivering thrilling performances ensures his continued relevance. As Chandler takes time to reflect on his recent fight and prepares for future challenges, fans can expect him to bring the same passion and heart that have defined his career regardless of his next opponent. Jim Miller spoke about his retirement plans during the post-fight press conference. He was clear about wanting to leave after his 50th UFC fight, and his latest fight against Jackson was his 45th. Unlike some fighters who are vague about retirement, Miller was straightforward. The 50 is the hard stop, he said. You guys can hold me to that 100%. Miller shared that he still loves fighting but is ready for new experiences after spending so many years in the octagon. Thinking about what's next is both scary and exciting for him. He joked, "I've never had a real job. I framed houses with my dad in college, worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a bit, and was a lousy fry cook for a couple months, but yeah, I'm a fighter." Even though he laughed about it, Miller was honest about how tough it will be to leave the sport and the identity he's built over the years. It's going to be difficult. It's got to be hard to not get to do this, he confessed. He's not rushing though. Miller wants his last few fights to be meaningful and fun. He's also aiming for another milestone before retiring: 30 UFC wins. With 27 under his belt, he needs just 3 more in his remaining 5 fights. The goal of mine is to get to 30 wins, he said, and just have some fun fights, fight on some big cards, and fight some guys that I've been fans of forever. Miller wants his final fights to celebrate his career, taking on both up-and-comers and legends he's admired. Even though he's set on retirement, he jokingly added, unless they're like a couple $1 million, then it's 51, showing the unpredictable nature of the sport. MMA fans will surely be watching as he wraps up a career known for resilience and relentless determination.